Irv Smith a real possibility? Have you seen enough from him to say, well, he could be a factor for us in the playoffs? What do you see?
Irv, yeah, it was great to see him really. To say he needed to knock the rust off, absolutely not. I mean, his ability to just fit right in with how we envisioned using him, snap count wise, kind of saw it going that way. He ended up playing 32 snaps in the game and did his job across the board in the run game. You know, was able to spell TJ on some of those 11 personnel snaps. Fits in really, really well with Johnny and TJ as far as having those three guys up and available. Really helps our team and gives us a versatile option that, you know, really good with the ball in his hands after the catch. Showed that again yesterday, made a great catch on a keeper. So it was great to get Irv back out there, and the expectation is he's going to be play a role for us here, however many opportunities we have left.
Kevin, you got the win against the Giants, but what do you think you need to do better than you did in that game? They had, I think, their season high in total yards was 445. What do you have to do better against them from the previous hour?
Yeah, there were some missed tackles in there. You know, I thought they made, you know, every time we had a chance to kind of get momentum and keep it, they were able to put a drive together for points. Defense turned the ball over a couple times with some timely interceptions, but you'd like to limit some of those explosive plays, those first and second down explosive plays that tend to sometimes stack together a little bit and give offenses momentum. We want to get people to third down and see if we can activate a rush and tie the coverage into it, whether we're sending pressure or not. It's a matter of wanting to get to those downs, and I thought we could have done a better job the last time we played them of doing that. But it's with how they run the ball and Daniel being a factor in the run game, they can be a real challenge to defend, and they do a great job with the scheme. You know, Mike calling it, and obviously Dave's running the whole show. So it's going to be a challenge for our defense. They've got to show up, and the expectation is they'll play well.
Any concerns about Dalvin Snead?
No, not at all. He took a cleat, and you know, he'll be full this week. He'll practice full.
Kevin, from a game plan perspective, how much changes this week just with the magnitude of this game, if at all?
You know, not much from a standpoint. We may tweak some things with how we practice just to get, you know, a few, you know, having rested some guys and guys being somewhere between 40 and 50% of their normal snap count from a starter standpoint. I think we can push a little harder early in the week. We'll have the ability to get 3 full speed sessions in and hopefully have our guys flying around on Sunday.
You mentioned Josh Metellus. Why was it important to you to elevate another captain in Brian's stay, and then just what do you think earned him those votes?
Yeah, first and foremost, you know, I checked in with Brian, you know, to make sure he thought it was a great idea, and he was fired up about it. And even as he finished saying that, he said, "I think it should be Josh Metellus." So it was a nice foreshadowing to the overwhelming number of votes he got. Josh got a lot of votes at the beginning of the year. I mentioned to you guys, 22 players received votes to be a captain, and Josh was right there. And then what he's done throughout the season, just his role he's played on special teams as being one of the premier special teams players in the league, but also when he's gotten a chance to get out there on defense like he did yesterday, incredibly consistent, smart player. You feel his physicality, his ability to tackle, made a couple nice plays on the ball when it was in the air yesterday. So not a surprise to me. He's been A+ for me all season from a standpoint of just his role, but also his ability to, you know, lead our group has been huge.
So in the playoffs, how important, or to what extent do you think it's important to sort of study your own tendencies and potentially break them? I mean, you played the Giants before. I think every team is playing this weekend is having a rematch of a regular season game. So it's not like you're the only team that's in this spot, but to what extent do you need to do that?
Yeah, I think it's really important, just with 17 games of inventory in addition to just recently playing this team. We tend to, you know, see some different things defensively than what sometimes show up in the breakdowns leading into games. So to have that game of inventory and try to play the game within the game of what moves are they going to make. They're getting a little bit more healthy on the defensive side of the ball in the secondary. So I'm sure we'll see a variety of different things new, playing off of what we did in that game, how they defended us in that game, and then ultimately what they think is best to try to defend us, you know, in a one game. Kind of you're either moving on or you're not. So I think it's important that we look at our scheme in all 3 phases, what we've done, trying to identify where we're vulnerable, but then also the things we've done well, and can we take things to another level? Can we do some new things? Can we use different personnel? That's the beauty of getting, a guy like Irv back and getting Alexander some more carries the other day. Is now we truly, as if we, it confirmed everything we knew about our depth, especially at the skill positions, that hopefully we can make come to life. But that's an interesting point. I did not recognize that as far as all the matchups being repeat games.
Since the day you got here, have you spoken to your team about going to the Super Bowl, or do you deal more with incremental goals?
No, I think you have to, especially in year one. Our goal coming out of training camp was to win our division, give ourselves an opportunity to host a playoff game, and then really start talking about what the goal is now. You're in the tournament, but it is so important to stay laser focused week in and week out. That's what makes, I believe, the NFL playoffs such a challenge, because if you don't pour everything you have schematically and personnel, getting your team turned over and getting them fresh for your 18th game, and then hopefully more on from there. But you gotta treat every single week truly as a one-game season, because if you don't, there's a good chance your season's going to be over. So our guys know the importance of playing good football. It was really important to get a little confidence yesterday for a lot of the guys on our roster. But now can we put it together, play a team for the second time, and have our execution be sky high? We got to be really good across the board to give ourselves a chance to move on.
You went through this last year, obviously, as an offensive coordinator, but what kinds of things did you learn from the way Sean McVay handled this as a head coach that you take into it in your first opportunity, and that's fun?
Yeah, I think, having overcome kind of the adversity that hit us in November last year, we had already kind of started talking about through the month of December how we needed to prepare, how important it was for every single guy to try to do their 1% to help improve. There's nothing to be said that, just like last week we talked, our team can improve. We can continue getting better. We're far from what hopefully will be the final product, and we get opportunities that we can't take for granted from a standpoint of our preparation. But I just think the things that I look back on is just the razor thin margin of error. I mean, these games can go like our season has in a lot of ways. It can go down to the wire, and every little thing matters. Playing the first quarter might affect your ability to win it in the fourth quarter. And that's where I hope our experience in close games this year, and being at our best, in the final 4 minutes, and finding ways to, gain our, point differential when it mattered, was to win football games in the end. And so I hope our team really relies on that, the experience, the feeling of when these games, this game ends up being close, we feel like our guys should have confidence and a quieted mind to do what we need to do to win.
Kevin, you guys talk about the importance of starting fast and even avoiding those in-game lulls or slumps, but is that something you can actually game plan for, you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think every game plan should be designed to, try not to punt until the last minute of the game like yesterday. But you get in these games and it's ultra competitive, and it's a risk reward proposition a lot of times. Managing the game, knowing how it'll affect the other phases of your team offensively. But I feel like our offense feels confident right now that if we just go out and execute, and all 11 guys do their job, the talented players we have, our quarterback, and our ability to sustain plays and generate first downs and move the football is what's most important. And then when we get down there, can we finish drives with points? I think the playoffs, a huge factor that sometimes goes unnoticed is some of those first, second, or third quarter red zone scoring opportunities. Can you finish with touchdowns as opposed to field goals, and help generate the points you need to not only keep it close and make it close in the end, but try to get yourself a lead.
And what's your plan for Garrett Bradbury for this week, practice-wise? And regardless of what happened with him, did you see enough from Wright yesterday Chris Reed yesterday, that you need to use him when you can?
First and foremost, Kevin, I thought Chris took a big step forward. Having a week of practice to really get under his belt, and that communication and dialogue with Kirk, I thought we were much more, smooth being on the road again. And although as the game went on, we had some false starts and things by guys that just hadn't played a whole lot. But as far as Chris with Kirk and that first group, it was much smoother. So that's a real positive. And then as regards to Garrett, the hope is we can get him practicing this week. The hope is to have him out there, more than likely limited on Wednesday, and then we'll see if we can get some just build his work in throughout the week and then see how he feels. Ultimately, I just want Garrett to, give it a go and see if he can turn the corner and possibly help us. But at the same time, I don't want to put him in a position where he may not be at his best or feel like he's held back at all. So that experience for Chris with that first group yesterday was huge. And then also in addition to that, we will open Blake's, Brendell's window as well this week.
Yeah, would you like to see the same 5 guys line up and play offensive line for the entire game, or are you still kind of mixing and matching it all, or shuffling it all? What goes into that? Is that how they graded out yesterday, or?
To play everybody was great yesterday, but you would love to, by the time we get to game time, have that set 5 that we think gives us the best chance to win. If Garrett can go, obviously he'll be in there and we'll build it around him. But I think having CD back is huge, and Ole is another guy you can really take a look, at his snaps from yesterday and took another big step forward. And a guy that talented, that big, that strong, he start gaining confidence, knowing that he's going to be in there for us. You feel really strongly about his growth here in the short term and the work that he's done leading up to this opportunity. And it's going to be a challenge this week. They're really good on the edges, really good interior rushers. We saw that a few weeks back, so we're going to have a good performance by those 5 guys up front.
Last two for Kevin.
Kevin playing a team, again, so close together, playing just a couple weeks ago. How does that change the preparation at all? And then maybe describe when you officially knew you were going to play them. Were you guys here working late into the night last night, or what was it exactly?
Well, we were able to kind of know that we were either going to be playing really one of 4 teams, depending on how yesterday shook out. So having just played this team, you got a lot of the breakdowns done. You obviously have your game of inventory, and then just like we do every week, those, our QCs and younger guys are turning over that information and that video pretty quickly. And having played Green Bay and Detroit, you got a lot of inventory on them. So it was really just a matter of if it ends up being a Seattle, that's when the work would have been really in overdrive. But as far as preparing the film and the inventory of information that we use to game plan off of, it's kind of business as usual as far as getting in. Today we're well on our way to getting on this game plan.
Kevin, within your offense, what does an effective run game look like, and do you feel like you have the potential to get there, or how close are you?
Yeah, I think an effective run game starts with your efficiency. The explosives are great if you can get the 81-yarder like we did against Buffalo, or you can get Dalvin some big chunks. But what I look for as a play caller is, can we stay on schedule? Can we be efficient? Can we churn out 3, 4, 5 yards a run and stay on schedule without the negatives, without the the -2 here or the -4 or penalty and holding call here or there? Those set you back and completely can kind of derail drives, and then you're trying to get back on track from there. So I look at it as efficiency. Can we cover up? Can we get a hat on a hat and get our runs started? And then I feel really strongly about Dalvin and Alexander and really all of our running backs. If we can get those runs started, they're going to get more than what the play's blocked for. But it's a matter of eliminating those negatives, which I think are the most important thing.
Thanks, everyone. We'll get you right to the locker room.